But it's been a great year. I learned there's a whole other Olsen. I found that out this year. That's awesome. Where were they hiding her, huh? She's the best one. Come on. It's crazy. It was amazing. I can't believe she was the mistake. It was, I did, that's it, but it's an amazing movie, amazing.
Also putting this character with Wanda Maximoff, with Elizabeth Olsen, the dynamic between these two characters, what interested you most about kind of exploring the worlds of sorcery versus witchcraft?
All of that. I mean, I guess they're in the same kind of discipline, and she's awesome. I mean, just to talk about Lizzie for a second, what an amazingly fine actress she is. She's just so consummate, and to watch her is just mesmerizing. But also, as a friend and a human being on set, she's the first person not to take it or herself at all seriously and have fun, and that's infectious. So it was a joy really working with her, and it's a really, 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 really cool pair up. It's a complicated one, but really good fun.
Sarah and I aren't even supposed to really get along that great, but we do.
Yeah, we were like, do we have to do that scene now where we're supposed to be mad at each other? We just want to sing songs and dance around.
Well, this was one of my questions, actually, is because you shot all the farm stuff first, and then you did the lake house. So you'd been in that character for what, a couple weeks?
Yeah, a couple weeks, and then I met my sister.
So was it easier for you in a way because she was so ingrained already in the character to be able to have that sort of like, what is wrong with her, like, take for yourself, for Lucy?
I think it was easier. It was, but it was also, there was something about Lizzie where we would do the work, and then the minute they yelled cut, you know, I've been saying this a lot to people, she was not one of those actresses who sort of like balled up in the corner, like thinking about everything horrible that ever happened to her so she could do this emotional moment. You know, instead she'd be like, so, I want to talk about, and we would just, you know, it was just a completely, there was such levity on the set in between the stuff that was hard, but so I think it's even more telling about how spectacular we are in the movie, because we really do like each other. Not that you...
We're so excited to see you and Elizabeth work together for this film. Well, can you tell me your first meeting with her, or how that, when you met?
I've known Lizzie for a while, so we've been friends for a while, so we got along, and that obviously can only help when you're playing friends in a movie. So we had real chemistry and we really got along. I'm sure there's a lot of laughs in the movie that are just us, like being silly, so which is good.
I love it.
I love working with Lizzie for a number of reasons. She's incredibly punctual. And I am too. And it drives me nuts when people are late. And she's never lazy. She's fastidious. She's always comes to set with an idea. And I do too. And I think that
and we're always like texting about it too.
But and you would be surprised how many actors don't come to.
The leading lady is Elizabeth Olsen, who really is everywhere these days. How was it working with her?
A total pleasure. I mean, she's a real pro. She seemed to have some sort of deep intuitive sense about who this girl was, you know, because Zibby is, the character she plays is named Zibby, and she's, you know, precociously intelligent, she's very sophisticated, she kind of has an old soul quality to her. But at the same time, she reminds you every once in a while that she's young, in the same way that Lizzie does, you know. A lot of people who see the movie think that I must have written the role for her because she so embodies the character, but I met her after I had already written it, and we actually have the same agent, which really helped, because I got some pages to my agent, and she said, well, I have your Zibby, her name's Elizabeth Olsen. This was before anyone had seen any of her movies, so I kind of knew who she was before a lot of people.
No, I would never give an actress or an actor any advice, you know, because those guys, like, Lizzie Olsen is such an incredible actress, and you could see, you know, well, first of all, it was brilliant casting, but also we could see she's just so, the way she is and acts, it's kind of beyond her years, and she's going to have a huge career, it's obvious. But no, I would never, people figure it out. When you have the talent, that's all that matters, isn't it?
Of course, you know, you have to have somebody in the lead that you know is going to carry this off. And how on earth, I mean, I think Elizabeth is an amazing actress. We've seen her in a few things. But how do you know that she's going to be able to carry this from beginning to end and do what you want to see up there?
Well, you know, she had the training, having gone to Russian studied theater. We knew we needed somebody who had theater training because, you know, of the incredibly long takes and the need to be able to concentrate and have the stamina. And then just her quality, her depth, her fragility, the emotion that she could bring, and we saw that in her audition.
Yeah, and what did you make her do in the audition to see that?
You had to run around the city, but no.
Basically, you know, we actually wrote some sides that had nothing to do with the actual script. Okay. And we were looking just for that quality, for that ability to convey her fear and her confusion and also that somebody that you felt that you wanted to care about. So that's what we were looking for.
Yeah, really amazing job that she did there. Now, I can't even imagine how many false starts.
Not Elizabeth Olsen, which must have been especially in the early movies, there were not of other women around when you were, here you were. Did that help bond you when you were surrounded with all this testosterone?
Yeah, it was so great when Lizzie came on because we had Colby it was basically the two of us kind of holding down the fort.
Yeah.
And then when Lizzie came on, it's semi-balanced out. I mean, it was very, heavy on the testosterone for a very long time, and now has calibrated, finally caught up. But I mean, Lizzie is fantastic. She's so funny. And so she has such a quirky sense of humor. She's just a total professional. She's fit in perfectly and could just hang and talk and bring it to work. And, she's just, and what she was doing was so hard. She had even the physicality of what she was doing was so hard that I'd have work with her, and I was amazed at what she was creating out of nothing. That she created this whole, again, this physicality and her character has such, has such a sensuality to her, and she has such a passion, and she brought a whole thing that was just, I was amazed by it, and put me to shame. I was like, wow, this is an amazing thing. You've created this mystical, beautiful thing that had such strong feminine energy, and it was much needed.
My experience working with Elizabeth Olsen was probably one of the best I've ever had. I mean, she had very little experience, but was an incredible pro. And I've said this a lot to people who ask, but when I was 21, if I had to take on a role of this magnitude and this depth, I probably would have been curled up in a ball, listening to sad music and thinking about my dead dog to get me into some emotional place. And she just was able to do it without doing all of that extra stuff. She was very light of spirit, and we just joked around all the time. We sang a lot of songs like goobers on the set in between takes. And she's really a fun-loving, free spirit who happens to be a really, really remarkable actress. Probably memorable would be Elizabeth Olsen and I singing You Don't Own Me from the First Wives Club on the dock down by the water, where she spent a lot of time getting in that water, and we have a big scene on the boat, and we just spent a lot of time shaking our fingers in the air and singing You Don't Own Me, like we were Bette Midler, Diane Keaton, and Goldie Hawn. And it was, much to the crew's dismay, it was not a pretty sight, but we kept doing it anyway.
Every day, man. I mean, she's such a trooper. She was on the picture for a good 9 months prior to me getting involved in it, and so she did a lot of gun training and all these wonderful things. So I was really impressed with how much dedication and time spent to make the character really believable, and she crossed all her T's, dotted all her I's. She was on point, and she's just a lovely human to collaborate with. In doing 2 movies, I think, before. So yeah, every day was a really wonderful experience, and it's a very, very intimate way to work instead of on the Avengers movies. It was something that we had to just work together intimately in the snow. We were kind of stuck out there in the top of a mountain for a month or 2 on end, So yeah, I really enjoyed working with her. And then we go have a nice glass of wine and nice meal at the end of the day. So it was, and hit repeat, keep doing it. It's fantastic,